Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Then and Out podcast. I'm your co-host, Captain Diesel, and I'm joined with the usual suspects: Lelouch V, Professor E, Kingdom Comics, Ethan Murphy. Every time,
No, we're
every
keeping it.
time,
We're keeping it.
Like,
Keeping it.
every
That's
time.
your phrase
why?
now.
How y'all doing?
I feel like it's like a bad connotation coming in, like calling a group of black people suspects. Like it just it
I
leads to some
mean,
slippery places. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if
I,
that's the way, bro.
I mean, you're a
It's
criminal on
not.
the internet, so I guess that makes sense.
I've committed no crimes.
He went from being a suspect to being convicted. He said he actually
Just like
Right?
that,
Like,
officially a criminal.
nigga gave us evidence, man. But without further ado, y'all, we're here for another episode, man. We are here to discuss word to mouth and its benefits in products doing well or not doing well. This is something that Professor E wanted to bring up, so I'll let you kind of like introduce the topic and kind of where your mind was at when you wanted
Uh,
to have the conversation.
Sure. And I don't want anybody jumping all over my boy Charlie. He meant word of mouth. We just have a lot going on, so it's he knows what he's doing. He's fine. He's fine. But long story short, we're talking about how the influence that good or bad word of mouth can
wait, so
have
this
on
isn't about
movies.
the Ludacris album, Word of Mouth.
Is that what? Yeah. Wait, that's how long ago was
That's
I
that?
crazy.
I studied this completely. Oh my god, what are? No, I'm joking. Sorry.
Wait, Ludacris. No, but essentially how like people talking good or bad about a movie or a show can completely change its trajectory. So, for example, I definitely remember hearing a lot of hype and everything for Sinners back in the day, right? And then,
Hmm.
sure enough, they released all their reviews pretty early for Sinners, and got people even more hype for it. So people wanted to go in there seeing it. It got like, the Rotten Tomatoes was like 95% or whatever it was, but it didn't matter because people were going over the moon talking about how good it was, how much fun it was, that kind of stuff, right? And then I heard before I saw it, I heard Charlie here tell me that he thought it was literally, I'm just saying the truth. He said film of the year, film of the year, but he wasn't by himself saying that. So I was like, okay, it's got some steam on it, it's got some hype. Is it being overhyped? I don't know, but it compelled me that much more. I was like, well, now I got to see it. But at the other end of the spectrum, you have movies that get a lot of negative flack. No, I'm sorry, flack. That as far as people saying, "Oh, this movie's bad. This movie's terrible. This movie's buns." And when they say that, it's harder because movies cost a lot of money, take a lot of time to go see them. It's like it's not as and there's so much good stuff on TV already. It's a golden age of TV and streaming. I'm that much less compelled to go. And it's not based off of the commercials. It's not based off the trailers. It's usually for me based off of my friends, what my friends say to me, or the YouTubers I trust their actual opinions. Good or bad is just how it is.
Yeah, I can second that because I mean, Sinners. I mean, that was when I was always gonna see, so I can't really say that one. But Superman, I was always a little. I've never been a gigantic fan of him as a character, so like it wasn't until I heard the rave reviews about the actual movie where I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go see this. Um, had
Gotcha.
it not been for that, I probably would have been waiting until it hit Max like a lot of other people did, and just now been watching it. And in the opposite route, like I was super hyped for him all year,
Yeah.
and I've heard a lot of negative reviews, and I still haven't seen it.
It hit you. It did the same thing to me. I was gonna see it like opening weekend, and I was like, what? But it heard so much bad stuff. Like, what?
Hmm.
Yeah. So
For me, I can be convinced to go see something if I hear enough positive reviews about it. Like if it wasn't on my radar initially, or if I said, "Oh, I'm not really interested in that concept," I'll leave it alone. If I hear good things from colleagues and whatnot, it can influence me to go. But I don't think I've ever had anyone's negative reviews had me not want to go see something I didn't already plan on seeing. Like if I have in my mind that I want to go see what this thing has to offer, because usually it has to do with a director or an actor or maybe a concept matter that I found at least interesting enough to pique my interest. Um, then I'll go see it. But at least for me, I'm never ever convinced to not watch or read or engage in any content I already have my mind set on.
mhm.
Part of it maybe because I'm stubborn. Part of it maybe has to do with like the content creation stuff within the last year or so, where if I have my mind set on it, I'm probably already going to go see it to either make a video about it or hell, even if I'm just with something like an Assassin's Creed Shadows, right? It's something that a lot of people were I was already looking forward to, And obviously, it got like review bomb, which part of that I already knew what it was because of the racism aspect of having
Yeah,
the woman and the black character in there.
that was a
And I
different
got a
story.
lot of negative reviews even before the game came out. But I'm like, I didn't let that discourage me from wanting to play a game I was already interested in enough to go check out.
Mhm.
But that's just me though, and how I operate.
I think
Yeah, I
one
mean,
thing too for I'm sorry, you know, it was
yeah, I was saying like for me, um, no, like if it's the general public talking about something negatively, 9 times out of 10, I couldn't care less.
yeah,
When it's
Mhm.
like direct, reputable sources, like people that I have like shared, favorited series, shows, movies with, and
Mhm.
they're saying it's bad, oh, I'm dead. It'll pump the brakes. It'll pump the brakes real quickly.
it'll
Yeah,
yeah
like
it'll get my
same thing
attention.
with him. Like so many of my friends that I talk about shows with regularly, said like, yeah, this isn't what I expected. I wanted to like it. I love the production value, but the story wasn't there. And I'm like, yeah, I'm hesitating on spending my money right now on that. Just being real.
Yeah, and that's really what it is. It is the money aspect is present, and with in full disclosure, obviously Otis and Charlie are both aspiring writers themselves. But they're pretty they're writing stuff. But I know they're students of the craft. So I think for Charlie, one thing is you do enjoy going to see. You're learning as much as possible. You enjoy seeing all kinds of movies and shows because you want to learn, good or bad. You're trying to absorb, which makes sense. I
Mhm.
get that. I know with not to call it Otis. Otis is a very very busy person. He works crazy hours. So I get for you and your perspective is like I literally can't take the time to go do this. I have to choose my hours, my money. But that's kind of I think that's kind of how the spectrum works. If you are a very much trying to learn as much as possible, soak in as much as you can, you won't mind taking the time to go to theater or wherever and watch something that may be bad. If you want to do, more power to you. But if you have to be careful with your resources and I mean, would it be time, money, whatever, family, then yeah, of course you'd be that much more wary of where you the movies you go see. It makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah. I think too, there's I feel like two kind of people in regards to how you consume movies. There are the people that watch it for the entertainment value of just watching it. They don't really engage too much in the talks around it or like why this movie was what it was or why it did what it did. If you just go see it to consume it as it be, like you're watching a basketball game, I can understand a lot more your hesitancy to want to go watch a movie or buy any product, especially if you're limited resources or limited time. I know what, like for me, and I think some people that are similar to us in the same vein, we'll watch something bad just so we can have the conversation of why it did bad, depending on how bad it is. At least for me, like if I hear that, I'm trying to think of an example this year. Oh hell, The Conjuring, the last Rites
Oh,
movie
the
was
last
probably
right.
another one
I
where
refuse to watch it.
I thought it was very disappointing in what I expected and what I wanted from the last movie of this franchise. But again, it's James Wan, creative franchise, so I kind of already knew what to expect there. He doesn't finish it. Um, but it's a
With
movie
the,
where like I watched it, I enjoyed parts of it, and I thought I had a lot to promote conversation, and I love having conversation about writing about movies and products and things of that nature and storytelling. So even if it's a bad movie for me, I didn't see me taking time to go see that thing and watching something bad as like something that ruined my night or ruined my day. I
right, it was a waste
still
of time.
had fun watching it. I had fun even more so making content and talking about it after the fact. So it's kind of like I don't just get my enjoyment from just watching the thing. I enjoy everything that comes around it for me personally.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
that's fair. That's fair. And
yeah,
with Last Rites, did you hear the reviews before you saw it? Just I'm just curious if you heard.
I still haven't seen reviews for it because I
Okay, there
well
you go.
no way I lied. I saw one person's review, um,
Before
but for the
before or
most
after?
after the fact. I told you
Yeah.
I don't watch any reviews before I go see something. At least
Yeah.
something that if I'm going to review this thing on my channel, I don't want anyone else's perspective or anyone else's view to rub off on me, or I don't want to go into a movie with a
awesome.
negative feeling already. Jesus Christ.
But so I think that's one thing too is you essentially other than your friends, you pretty much stay away from word of mouth. You kind of you prefer to actually have make your own opinion first and foremost.
At least like detailed word of mouth, I'll say. Like if someone says, "Oh, I enjoyed it," or "Oh, this was shitty," I'm cool. But I don't want like a detailed explanation on what you thought was bad because at the same time, I want to go into this thing as as level as possible and as open minded as possible. I don't want to go into watching anything or consuming anything with my mind jaded one way or the other. Like
I got
obviously
it.
it happens if it's like a franchise that's been shitty for a while. I kind of go in expecting this thing to be bad, and
Like
it kind
The
of.
Conjuring.
I enjoyed the one before this, the Devil Made Me
The
Do It. I thought
Nun.
that was a solid one.
The,
No,
Which one? So what
this
was the last one?
the
Because
Nun
I thought
two.
the actual canon, not canon, the main ones were the 1, 2, and 3 were good. I thought, right?
yeah. So Conjuring 1 and
One
2,
was really good. Two
1 was
was
good.
solid.
Two
Three
is
Okay.
good.
dog shit to me,
Yeah, I know that's
and all the spinoffs also dog shit.
yeah, Annabelle and Nun. Yeah, I didn't see the.
All of them.
Yeah. So yeah, 1 and 2 I thought was solid. The one before this one, The Devil Made Me
Devil
Do It,
Made Me
I
Do It?
enjoyed. I enjoyed that. And then 90% of the spinoffs were pretty bad because they're cash grabs for the most
Yeah,
part. Like there wasn't anything unique about them. I think Annabelle may have been like the closest one to be something, but for the
Yeah, the
most
second
part,
because there were two of those. I heard the second was better than the first. I didn't like either one of
no.
them. Oh,
The
it was
second
worse.
one was
Oh, it
second
was
one was
worse.
horrible, and
Well,
then
they're
the
both
third
bad.
one was like the
There's three of
third
them.
one. Yeah, the third
Damn.
one was Annabelle Comes Home, which was like it's supposed to be like a rated teen one where like Ed and Lorraine are off doing something and the daughter's left home with a babysitter, and then
Oh my
they
god.
let all the spirits in the room and they're like their little locked room out. So there's like a Scooby Doo type thing where the hijinks are out and things are going on. That shit was horrible. Because by the time Ed and Lorraine got home, they had put everything back and locked everything back up. And I'm like, again, that's a whole different thing. I could rant on that thing for a minute and how this man James Wan annoys me with that shit. This thing James Wan will start a franchise. First 2 movies are great, and then he just leaves and lets other people take over because he gets bored or whatever it may be, and then this shit just like goes haywire because that's the whole thing.
That's not always on him. That if he's doing his job, starting it, does a good thing to get it going, and then others come in and mess it up.
Stories, dog. Finish those stories. Would you write like out of all the stories you've written, would you like write the first issue and let somebody else finish your stories?
No, but I think it's different with the movies. I'm not sure if he, for example, with The Conjuring, I don't know if it was planned to be a franchise. I'm not sure if he intended, or on his end, if he intended for it to be a franchise. He may have thought, oh, cool, I'm starting to do this movie. I'm gonna do this movie, and I'm gonna go home with my wife and kids. That may have been his perspective. Wait, I have to do more of these things.
I can see that because it is something that seems like his MO, where he just like does one hitter things with the Monkey. I think he worked on. I think he directed The Monkey, if I'm correct.
Did he do The Monkey? No. That was the guy that did Longlegs. Remember? It was what's his face?
Oh yeah, that was
Perkins'
Zach
son.
Grieger's.
Zach Grieger. No, Zach did.
Osgood Perkins. Osgood Perkins. Yeah.
The guy, the Psycho's son.
I'm thinking about the Tumor movie with the Tumor twin.
Yeah, Malignant. You know about Malignant.
Malignant, yeah.
That was James. That was him. I think it was written by him. That may have written, but it was all him. Anyway, we're getting off topic. But the idea is, it does seem very much like, from what I'm gathering, you don't really listen to word of mouth. You prefer to, So it's a very different thing in your case. But at the same time, your life is all that much better for it because you go out and experience all these movies and shows, not being like you said, not being persuaded or jaded ahead of time, which is.
Hey, and I understand I'm very privileged in the fact that I don't have any crazy responsibilities outside of me and my dog and the regular bills I have. I don't have children. I don't have like house payments. I don't have any like crazy thing that requires so much of my money and my attention outside of the things that I'm investing in now and things of that order. So I'm in a privileged place. But I will say I think there is, and we've talked about this before, me and you like do like exhausting links about people not understanding the resources they have to make things more affordable to go see, which part of it I understand because why would companies want to give you all the sauce to go see their movies for cheaper that they have available to you? Because again, I won't give all the information here because I want to drag this video out. But if you guys want to go check out my homegirl Brandy, Solicit Cinema, on her YouTube channel, every Tuesday she does a stream where she sits down and gives like the deals for the week and like the accounts and subscriptions and things you can sign up for to give you free movies, to give you discounted movies to show you like theaters like Regal or like bringing like classics back in theater too, like movies like E.T. or they just have the Dark Knight, stuff like that. Any old classics you want to go see that you haven't seen in a while, bring those back. So shout out to her. She'll show a lot of stuff there. But there's a lot of different ways you can go see free or discounted movies, especially if you have a family.
Yeah, we're gonna try to leave a link to her in the description so you can.
Yeah, I'll leave it in the description.
Yeah. That's what's up.
But I will. Yeah. Go ahead.
But what about like the series that don't get the level of attention that movies do, that have to run completely off of word of mouth, the Iron Hearts of the world, the Kazazimotos on Disney Plus. Even I would argue the Gen V early on. Like I didn't see a ton of promotion about that. If it wasn't
Mhm.
for the connection to the boys, I don't think that most people would have ever come across it.
So, so there, I think is the dark side of word to mouth, where word to mouth can also kill your product before it even starts, as well as lack of it can have your product just not even take off. And I say that with something like an Ironheart, to where I think a lot of people's biases tank. The show did well. It did relatively well, but from where I think it should have gone or where it could have been, given like how good the show was, I think a lot of its potential tanked because you had so many people that, one, don't like black women, and two, don't like women in general, and three, don't like the fact that they're seeing Riri as like a replacement for Tony Stark. They had a lot of shit to say about that show. Or a better example to me is the recent My Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man show that dropped.
Mhm.
People had a lot of shit to say about that show because of a lot of the race swapping and things of that nature that went on in that show. And I don't think too many people watched that show for the most part. I had to look to see what the
I think
numbers
that
were
was
for
from
it.
the woke comment though. Pretty sure it was like
That as
from
well.
the voice actor saying like,
Yeah.
"Oh yeah, it's not woke or anything," and that
Well,
hurt
but
a lot of
just
people.
to
Well, no, he said it was extremely woke, is what he said in the comment, which then was taken out of context because he was saying that
yes,
it
I
seemed like he
remember
thought it was going to be really woke when he went into it, and then he actually like did the show, and he was like, "Oh, it was great," but people
yeah,
took that
yeah,
snippet and then let it run, and then that really killed a lot of the momentum it had
right.
for it.
Right. But so also, I mean, we're hitting a few things here as far as review bombing and also the idea of why it is people
Yeah.
don't like things. That's different stuff. But as far as did Spider-Man that the neighborhood Spider-Man, it did do well.
Yeah.
It did very well. It's
Yeah.
already
Yeah,
renewed for a
fine.
second season. So yeah, it's fine. Ironheart, it's funny because the reviewers I do trust and I do watch and I do respect, they don't bring up the bullshit. They don't bring up the race. They don't bring up the
Yeah.
sexual preference and all that kind of stuff. I'm not gonna follow you if you do. So if I actually spend my time listening to your review, it's going to be about the actual quality of the actual content itself. And Ironheart got a bunch of a bunch of flack, but sometimes too it's a generational thing. If you have a main character that's a teenager doing her thing, it's going to upset older cast that are reviewing it. It's just part of it too. They may not be as engaged with it. I watched Ironheart myself, but I watched it because I didn't want to watch it at all, honestly. But I went to Kentucky over in July, and I was with my niece and my nephews, and they're younger, and they loved it. They said they loved the show, so I sat down and watched it with them. I did not like the first 3 episodes. I'm sorry, I did not like them, but I liked the ending, like the last three. So it's. But
That's
again, I watched it
interesting.
because of word of mouth. I watched it because of them.
Exact opposite. Hey, I told you, me and this nigga Otis have been on a weird wavelength this year where we agreed on too much shit, and it's making me feel weird because I thought the exact opposite. I didn't like the last couple episodes, but I loved the first three. I thought the first three was the better of
I fell
the
asleep
show.
multiple times in the first three. But here's the thing. That's what we're saying right now. What's happening right now. That's the point. It is generational. For those who don't know, I'm Otis Dirt. And these two, Otis is between us, and then Charlie is a baby. He's a pup. So that's going to happen. But I think
that's a quarter century. That's not a pup.
To me, when the Earth first started spinning, I tripped. I fell over because it moved too fast. But that's part of, you have to account for that as far as everyone's gonna have different opinions. That's why I kind of like Dev's Charlie's take as far as like, look, I don't listen to nobody else. I just go do my own thing. Yes, you do have your Regal card or the Regal card or your card you
Regal,
use. Yeah, Regal. Shout out to Regal for doing that, which is awesome. Yeah, it helps, of course, if you have the ability to watch multiple movies. More power to you. But I do think also you should be aware of the fact that it does matter. Like you said, Gen V, even though it was in the brand or I guess associated with boys, it wasn't like people were not lined up to watch that show. I only watched it because literally you two recommended it to me. I remember the day I was like, really? That's actually good. You're like, oh yeah, both of y'all actually like, yeah, it's actually really good. I was like, all right, fine. Watch the first 10 minutes. I was like, oh yeah, they're right. It actually is good.
Yeah,
So,
Invincible is another one for me where I didn't know about that show at all until it came out, and then I heard everybody talking about that show and like giving the information about like the stat cast, and I was like, all right, we'll give it a try, and then I was like locked in.
So you never read the comic at all?
No, I didn't even know the comic existed until the show dropped, and I went back and read
Really?
the comics after the fact.
Oh, okay. Because they came out after you were born too. It wasn't like it was.
It may have been around like the time I was born. I think it's like early 2000s, right?
I think it was like 2000,
like 05 or 03 maybe.
Yeah,
it
was like
ended its run in 2015 or something like that. But it's one of those things too where the adaptation, in lots of ways, is better than the beginning of the source material. It's just
Absolutely.
Mhm.
so it's but anyway, but
But
it's just
before
a
we
word
get
of
too
mouth.
far into the weeds, y'all, final thoughts on word of mouth in 2025. Is it a valuable tool? Do you think that it enhances, the viewer experience, or is it a detriment to it?
Good question. Good
I
question.
think it's a pro and a con. I think when it's being positive for a product, I think it can work to elevate something that may have been really good into a different stratosphere because people are looking at it as is that sense of FOMO, I guess. People want to agree on a lot of stuff and feel like they're in the in group whenever things are looking a certain way. But I also feel like people have echo chambers where if you consume, like I mentioned earlier, where you consume movies a certain way, you're going to follow content creators and people that talk about movies in the same way that you do, so you can understand that thing. I feel like not many people go outside of their bubble to see how other people talk about things differently than them. So if you're in your bubble and people within your bubble are saying something's bad, that can domino effect into doing negatively for whatever product it may be. So I think it has its duality, but I think at its best and at its worst, it can be really crippling either way. It can be really crippling, or it can again like bring something into another stratosphere.
I think that's the point. I feel like it's almost the reason I do like word of mouth is because you're beholden. It makes the studios or the whatever makes these shows or movies, it makes them quality. It's almost like quality control, grassroots quality control. If I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go and watch this awesome show, and both of y'all like, man, it's buns, hard buns. I'm like, I might pass. But if it's happened multiple times where I'm like, I'm not sure about this product here, I'm not sure about this movie or whatever, and both of y'all are like, yo, it's dope. Please check it out. I'm like, all right, fine, I'll go watch it. So you cannot just take our money anymore. You have to earn it essentially. That's why I like the idea, because I think it is fair in the sense that if you do make something good and word of mouth is good for you, yeah, people will go see it. Like Weapons got all kinds of good word of mouth, and therefore it did get lots of money. It's unfortunate that him got so much bad word of mouth and lost it, because it had the momentum, it had Jordan Peele's name with it. But because it got so many bad reviews, it just lost momentum pretty quick.
Yeah. I think in 2025 that word of mouth is actually more powerful than ever, because things like the social media and the internet are just so ingrained into everybody's daily lives that you can't help but to get like some type of exposure to a product before you actually watch it. So managing that, being able to tap into the right influencers to like actually like start getting the rhetoric out about something ahead of time, I think is more valuable than ever. And I think that you have to be actually like actively considering word of mouth in your marketing plan if you want something to be successful in today's day and age.
Yeah, 100%. You got to generate hype. Yeah.
Agreed. Well, all right, y'all. Again, this has been another episode of the Then and Now podcast. Again, guys, please, if you are fans of whatever we said here today, or you hate whatever we say here today, please let us know in the comment section below by following any of our platforms that we have within the description. Again, I am Captain Diesel, Lelouch V, and Professor E, King of the Comics, Ethan Murphy. And guys, remember, forever and always,
you're listening to the Then and Now podcast.
And if you want some good word of mouth your way, don't watch Cabinet of Curiosities on Netflix. It's a waste of time.
we still
Have not forgotten about the Lotion Monster.
3 years ago?
man.
What was that?
Almost
That's
3,
3
it feels
years
like.
ago?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll never let it go. I'll never let it
Hey,
go.
he's got
But the thing was, you were hyped for it. You were hyped for it. That's why it hurt.
No, I wasn't. I thought
You
it was
watched
going to be terrible going
we
in.
made him watch that.
We
For
made
the
him watch it. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Before we saw it, we made him watch it.
Mhm.
The review on the show. But the thing is, if we had seen it first, we would have been like, no, man, you can pass those. You can skip over that. Yeah, that's true. That's right.
Jesus.
That's right.
Bye, y'all.